Hello, and welcome to ProHome Inc.'s Housing Counselor's Corner, where each month we produce a short video discussing different topics such as home buying, housing counseling, and financial literacy. I'm Paul Chase, the Managing Director for ProHome, along with Program Manager Terry Aruda and Video Series Executive Producer Leslie Rhoda behind the scenes. And today we also have ProHome Housing Counselor Jordan Fiore. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I'd like to remind our viewers that the opinions expressed are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of ProHome Inc. Also, this is a program for entertainment purposes only, and you should always consider contacting ProHome directly at 508-824-2514 when it comes to your specific real estate and counseling needs. So with that, let's get started. Today we are going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about bankruptcy and foreclosure and the one-on-one counseling services that we offer at ProHome. I know that people often ask me, well, gee, how do I even get started with this? And I tell them the first thing to do is pick up the phone, right? So if they pick up the phone and, Terry, they have some credit issues, or they have they want to speak to you about some credit issues, what's that first step?
Generally what I'll do is ask them to come in so we can sit down and pull their credit together, look over what's on there. If it's something we can work with, then I'll continue with the appointment for them.
Okay.
And then usually I'll send them to American Credit Counseling if it's extensive.
If it's extensive. Okay. So that first phone call is how we start, and then they come in for a one-on-one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's important to say that no matter what type of one-on-one counseling you folks do, they should be prepared to give extensive information. Because I think sometimes people go in there and they're a little nervous about, they say, oh, do you really need this information? But, it's all about understanding the situation.
Right.
And there are things, too, that, like HUD, for instance, or other organizations that we work with, federal agencies and stuff like that, they require us to have certain intake information as well.
And that's one of the things that I try to assure them, that information is only for our reporting purposes, but it also helps us be able to guide them.
Sure.
What they need, the direction, if they need budget counseling, just to kind of get their goals where they want to go.
Okay, sure. Then, we go from credit counseling to, they have some, serious issues, and they're looking at either bankruptcy or foreclosure. And that's where Jordan comes in. Jordan's been around ProHome for years and helping people out all the time. So I guess what I'll ask Jordan is, when there's a crisis of this magnitude, first of all, let's back up. Anytime you get in a situation like this, the best thing to do is to contact someone as soon as possible, correct?
Yes, and I have to say, nowadays, I'm probably getting a majority of our calls that are probably too late.
Okay.
Really need to time things just perfectly. You really need to have a good sense of where you are before I can give you a sense of where you can go.
Okay. And you find that a lot of people are just hanging on too long before they make that call for help.
Well, or they are in situations where there may not be help available for the type of problem that they have. Now, there's plenty of assistance for people who are not too far gone, or who are in a position to correct what's going on. But we often get people calling who just aren't really in a position to be able to bring themselves back. And I actually even have little inside jokes in the office about what kind of magic we may need to perform in order to get things done, because there's some situations that seem to be really impossible. And unfortunately, some of the COVID-related programs that were getting people out of deep holes are going away.
Right.
And so the options are becoming more and more limited. So
Sure.
so it's rather difficult.
Right. And I know that it's you think it's far-fetched to say, but I'm sure that you've had a call a time or two from someone that says, I need help because I'm being foreclosed on. And you say, well, all right, the first thing is we have to figure out the time frame, when that's going to happen. Well, they told me tomorrow.
We've had that.
We have,
Yeah, right.
We've had
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
and it's amazing that there are people out there that feel like, it could just simply be stopped at the last second because they're making a phone call. So again, I'm just trying to remind people, to urge people that, at the sign of your first issue or
Yeah.
you start falling behind, there are things you can do in order to help prolong these types of situations, and talking to a professional is that first thing. And again, the other thing I would say is at Pro Home, we offer one-on-one counseling for foreclosures with no fee attached.
Correct.
So there is no reason not to. If you start to fall behind, it's make that call so that way you don't have anything to lose. We're not charging you.
And my experience, I'm also an attorney as well as a housing counselor, although that's not a part of my job as a pro home, but the experience I've had, I've been on the other side of these things. I've performed foreclosures and I've performed bankruptcies, and on the other hand, I've also closed loans. I know what the people are going through, or should be going through, from various angles of it, and I try to speak from that kind of experience.
Sure. Okay.
When's the best time that they should reach out to you? I mean, aside from the fact that it should be right away.
Well, sometimes it's too right away. I had a call this morning, and I have every once in a while, people are afraid of what's going to happen to their credit, and they want to be bailed out before they fall behind.
Yeah.
And there aren't any programs that'll do that. There are programs that will get you caught up, but yeah, it's going to have an impact on your credit for maybe a year or so. And you have to decide, do you want to stay in your house, or do you want to be able to put a few extra bucks on your credit card?
Right.
And I think staying in the house is a more important option, and that's what I always try to steer people toward.
Right. But even for the folks that may be calling too early, I'd much rather see that happen and redirect them back and say, okay, well, here is what you need to do, and if this happens, then please call us back.
That's what I do. I'll tell them, wait a month or two and get back to me. I won't say I can't do anything for you, but your situation, if it appears it's going to get worse before it gets better, come back to me in a month or two, and I may have more options for you.
Right.
But if somebody just wants to preserve their record, unfortunately, there aren't any regular programs that'll actually do that for them.
Sure. Now, I do want to make it clear that we're not in any way saying if they call a little too early to say to them, well, let everything go and then call us back. That's
No.
not what we're saying. We're saying you should be working on this, but if you continue to fall behind and you're at a certain point, then
come
we
back.
then we can help you.
Yeah, well, that's basically a matter of you don't qualify for help unless it's gotten that bad. And,
Sure.
I mean, the first questions I ask are, how far behind are you? Why are you behind? Do you have a regular source of income, and who is your lender? Because who is your lender can make a difference.
Sure.
Some are more cooperative than others.
Sure.
But depending on how far behind there are programs we can help them with. If they're very far behind but they have a regular source of income, we'll probably look at trying to work out a loan modification.
Right.
And if situations are hopeless, I try to get them to look at the best kinds of solutions, with selling the house on your own rather than being foreclosed on, and what options there are for living. I mean, there's just you have to be aware of like every aspect of somebody's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, you know, if a foreclosure is happening, then they have to find another place to live with a foreclosure on their
Record, yeah.
report, right? Which makes things difficult as well. So,
Which is why you want to try to do it before the foreclosure actually happens.
Yeah.
right. And to your point, there is everything from loan modification to short sale to foreclosure options. So, you know, it all depends on the person's situation.
Yes, but one thing, one good byproduct of the COVID situation is there are some programs available to at least bail out a short-term problem. If you're right now, the state has what's called the RAFT program. AFT part is for aid to families with transition, residential aid for families in transition, and that program can bail you out to the extent of $7,000, which is probably 3 or 4 months worth of mortgage payments for a lot of people.
Right.
And if they're only a couple of months behind, and you know they're not going to stay behind if they can get caught up,
Right.
that's the first place I send them.
Okay.
But they have to be able to prove that they can keep the mortgage payment once they got the program, correct?
Well, to the lender you do that.
Yeah.
To the program, not necessarily. The program will do. They can do. There are income limits involved with it, but other than that, if it's a situation that looks viable, I suggest they do that. Even if it's not going to be viable in the future, at least buys them some time so they can look at some of the other options.
Okay. But the most important thing, again, we can't stress this enough, is to make that call, right?
Correct.
And that's what they need to do if they feel that they're in a situation that they can't handle. If it's too early, then we'll give some advice as to what you should try to do, to work out of it. And if it's past, then we will do what we can to help. Like you said, there are.
Yeah, we're also trying to expand what we can do with that. Right now, the agency is limited with what funding they can get for what kinds of programs. They have to meet certain criteria for HUD to reimburse us, for example. But there are so many things, so many cases that don't rise to the level of our being able to provide services that we can bill for. So we're trying to do things with our grant funding to get more assistance so that we can provide the time and the service, and the agency recover the cost of that without it rising to the level of what we report to the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I think this is all very good information, and I think, again, the bottom line is that if you need help with bankruptcy or foreclosure, information, right? If they need information or some guidance, or perhaps we can help them with their particular mortgage company on a loan modification of some sort, to give us a call. And we are a one-on-one counseling agency, and we can help them at no charge, and that is part of what we do for the community. So if they need to contact us, how do they do that?
Well, as you mentioned at the top of the hour, call us at area code 508-821-2514. Everybody asks, what's my direct line, or they ask, what's Terry's direct line, and the answer is there's one line for all of us. There aren't that many of us here, and we can help you.
There you go. You can also contact you by email, which are on the website. And there's a lot more information on the website too, so I would suggest that either before you make that phone call, or if you after you make that phone call you want to learn more about ProHome, you can go to www.prohomeinc.org. There is a lot of information on there about our counseling services, educational programs, our housing counselors, and how you can get in touch with them via email. The phone number's on there as well. So with that being said, I want to thank you both for your time today. I think we've got some general information that's helpful, and hopefully people that see this, that feel like they need some help, will feel comfortable enough to reach out to us and get the help that they need. All right, well, thank you. And that will wrap up our Housing Counselors Corner video today. Again, if you would like to contact the office, 508-824-2514. Our website, not 2154.
No, 821. 2514.
Sorry. 508-821-2514. Yeah. And online, www.prohomeinc, don't forget the INC at the end, .org. prohomeinc.org. Plenty of information on there as well about the various programs and educational programs that we offer. And until next time, we thank you for joining us, and we will see you again.